Hey folks, welcome to the real world, I suppose. Not often we're doing a video like this, but I get asked with some regularity, like, what is my PC and streaming setup? What is my personal sim rig setup? And I just sort of remodeled this whole space. So I figured I would do perhaps a little bit of an office tour and kind of show off this area and of course show off what I've got going on with the sim rig, because there are some interesting things here that I haven't really seen done before. So let's go ahead and get the tour started. And first, I've got to show you guys the wall of many things. Now, honestly, I could probably talk for about an hour about everything on this wall, but I won't do that. To pick out a few, Forza racing game related highlights, of course, we've got some of my favorite games of recent years, Art of Rally, Wipeout Omega Collection, of course, there is Horizon 1 up there. And then down lower, I am a big MMO guy, so I've got WoW and EVE as well. Up on the mid shelf, we've got the Golden Tank. Thank you for everyone who voted for Hoshido City, next to the first place trophy for Overtake's Dream Team Series in Assetto Corsa, next to the dyno sheet for my Supra. And then probably my favorite thing on this whole wall, something you guys might recognize, the diner from Forza Horizon 1 to Hot Wheel scale. I'm a big 3D printer guy, so I did 3D print this whole little diorama and then just printed a background for it there as well. And yeah, this is an awesome little place to display some of my favorite Hot Wheels. But that'll do it for the wall. Like I said, I could talk for ages, so we need to cut it off at some point. Let's bring it over to the office itself. So I've got a 3-monitor setup, a little bit of a unique 3-monitor setup. Odyssey G9 down here, and then two 24-inch Asus monitors kind of up in the wings, which gives me space in the middle to run a camera and a light. And this has seriously been the perfect setup for me. It gives me kind of that single monitor ultra wide experience down there, but then I can have Twitch and Discord up in the wings, and then when I'm streaming, this monitor becomes a second computer. So I do have a 2 PC setup for streaming. This is the primary gaming PC here. I'll throw the specs probably up here in the video, and then that is the stream PC. Now, you might have also noticed that I do only have one mouse and keyboard for these two computers. So what I do is, right above my USB hub here, I've got an HDMI switch, and that swaps this monitor over to the second PC. And then with a KVM software, I can just move the mouse between both computers as if it was one setup, which is super convenient. Kind of the goal with this whole thing was to make sure everything is intuitive and simple, and I'm not like duplicating hardware. I didn't ever want to run 2 keyboards, partially because I just didn't have space for it with this desk, but also just because it keeps things as simple as possible. So yeah, that is kind of a broad overview of how the streaming setup works. But you also might be wondering about consoles, and I do have those all up here. Now, these are all powered and plugged into an HDMI switch, which is hiding behind this little Japanese street book nook thing. And then what I can do to turn on a console, this is 3D printed as well, by the way, is use this, and 1, 2, 3, 4 just correlates to 1, 2, 3, and 4 up there. And then pushing a button here will swap the HDMI here to whatever console I chose. And then if I need to record said console, there's actually another HDMI switch back there for the capture card, and that lets me capture and play anything in this little space super easy and super seamlessly. So yeah, that is pretty much the office there. Let me get a little bit of a zoomed out view. I do want to shout out quick the Horizon art. That was a bit of a jerry can that Horizon 5 sent me, Playground Games I suppose I should say, and I decided to take the front of it off and display it as some wall art. And then of course, the coolest thing I ever have had on my wall, a silver play button from YouTube. So hey, if you are one of those 100,000 people, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So yeah, that just about wraps it up. Real quick before we get to the sim rig, that is actually my wife's gaming PC setup, which is just my streaming PC. There is, and you can kind of see it behind the sim rig, a little conduit right there that has HDMI and USB. so that she can play games from there. So the stream PC is multifunctional. And with that, let's finally talk about this sim rig. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just pull it out. It is on locking caster wheels, and I do not use it in that little corner. We'll get to that in a second. Oh, it's rolling away. Hold on. There we go. So yeah, this is the rig. It's on an ASR 3 chassis that's from Advanced Sim Racing. It's a fantastic chassis. I have loved it. It's kind of their Gen 2 model, which has these flat faces on the outside of a lot of the aluminum, which some people have brought up concerns about, but it has not bothered me whatsoever. I've still been able to mount everything perfectly fine. And then the seat is actually from one of my older sim rigs, an Open Wheeler Gen 3. I just really like the seat. It's super cozy, it reclines, it's got a seat rail so I can adjust it forward and back. It's just a solid seat for sim racing. And then onto the hardware itself, I am running the Simagic Alpha Evo Sport. It's a 9nm wheelbase. I absolutely love it. It's easily one of the better wheelbases, if not the best one I have ever used. So shout out to Simagic for hooking me up with that. It's absolutely amazing. And then attached to it, we currently have the GT Neo wheel, which again, I absolutely love. Over here, I do have their, I think it's their Neo X hub hooked up to one of their rims too. So this one also gets quite a bit of use. But bringing it back to the rig with more Simagic, I also have their sort of entry-level P500 pedals. And again, been super happy with these. The mounting was a little bit weird on my cockpit, but has worked totally fine. There's a ton of adjustment to the pedals. Don't worry about this, that's just how it all plugs in, so let me get that out of the way there. But yeah, even on their entry-level pedals, every single pedal is adjustable. The brake is a load cell and also Hall effect, so you can use either one. So yeah, been very happy with their P500 pedals. And then let's go ahead and bring it kind of over to the other side here. All right, so over on the other side, I use a Stream Deck, a 15-button Stream Deck as a button box. I love using these as a button box because every single one of these buttons is a screen. So it's not like I need to put stickers on that are gonna be permanent. I can just modify it for whatever game I want, whatever car I'm driving. I love Stream Decks as button boxes. And then pulling it back, we've actually got the Turtle Beach multi-shift here, which can be swapped between standard H pattern or sequential mode, which I really like. Again, it's all about not duplicating hardware to me. I like stuff that is multifunctional. And then this is just a standard eBay handbrake. I think I've had this for probably 7 or 8 years, but it gets the job done. It's just a handbrake, it works. And that is pretty much it for the rig itself. So let's go ahead and get this plugged in and I'll show you sort of how it works because it is a little bit funky. All right, so there is the sim rig in its place. All I need to do is move that out of the way and then just slide this in and lock the back 2 casters. If I really wanted to, I could lock the fronts, but I've never really felt the need to. And yeah, everything is plugged in and on. You can see all the lights on the wheel and on the base as well. And then there is the button box in action. I think that's the iRacing setup at the moment. And now you might be looking at this going, okay, you know, pretty neat, but the monitor's kind of far away, isn't it? And maybe you picked up on this, but I can just go ahead and pull that all the way forward, slide it down a little bit, and there you have it. So this entire 3-monitor setup with the camera and the light is all on a sliding rail. You can kind of see it right down there, those silver rails there. And then with just a bit of a pull or a push, it all slides forward about a foot or so. Don't mind the rat's nest of cable back there. So yeah, that is the main sim rig setup, which I've never really seen done before. I know people do put monitors on arms, and I used to have that with this G9, but it ended up being a little more finicky and kind of made me nervous because it wasn't super locked in place. This is still using the original Odyssey G9 mount. You can see the top of it right there. And then everything is just on some aluminum rails that are very sturdy, very easy to push and pull and slide around. And the nice thing versus an arm is that it's just one push, one pull to get it in the exact spot I want. I don't need to kind of try to finagle it into the same spot every time on a monitor arm that moves in like every direction on every joint. So yeah, there you have it. I'll kind of pull back to get the full frame there. That is the personal sim rig. And with that, that kind of covers the office tour as a whole. Obviously, if you have any questions about anything, definitely let me know. I wanted to be sort of quick about this and not get into too much detail about like every single thing on every wall. So I think that kind of gives you a broad overview of the setup. And with that, dudes, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.